But last night was definitely an eventful night in the Democratic primary, with the final primary happening. That was Washington, D.C., which Hillary Clinton ended up winning despite a strong final push by Bernie Sanders in rallies that he was holding there, speeches, voter registration, and those sorts of things, voter drives, I should say. And so she did win, and Bernie Sanders met with her afterward. They apparently met for at least 90 minutes on the night of the final primary and spoke, and Hillary Clinton's campaign has come out and said that they had a very productive conversation about some of the changes that need to happen in the Democratic primary, in the party, and she also stressed that he talked a lot about defeating Donald Trump. Now, importantly, he and has come out since then, and his spokespeople have come out and said he is not dropping out of the race. He is not suspending his campaign. He's going to continue on and fight. And so after last Tuesday, we'd wondered what will happen after Washington. Will he keep going? As of right now, he will keep going. And I can't come up with any reason why, if you were going to pass Tuesday and you were going to pass D.C., why a week before the convention would you drop out as opposed to 6 weeks before the convention? And I'm not talking about tactics here. I'm talking about I don't understand why he would actually do it. And so I'm going to assume that he's going all the way to the convention at this point, which is what I predicted about a week ago. It looks like that's going to happen. And we now have a little bit better idea of what he's going to do when he gets there, because he just gave a major address talking about some of the things that need to change in terms of the actual Democratic primary. Now, this is not everything that he will fight for at the Democratic convention. There will be much bigger issues, which I'm going to get to after this. But some of the things that he did reference in terms of reforms that are necessary for the nominating process include same-day voter registration, which should be the most obvious thing in the world. The Democratic Party is supposed to be the party that is on the sides of more people voting whenever that is the option. If you have the option of getting more people to be involved in politics, then you go for that option. You don't have a conversation about, oh, well, if they really wanted to vote, then they should have gotten involved 30 days before or 60 days before, in some cases literally months before. No, if they want to get involved, let them vote. And it shows a complete lack of faith in the actual candidates to engage regular Americans. Because what they're effectively saying is, let's say in this particular case, hypothetically, the Democratic Party was in support of Hillary Clinton, the actual leadership. They're saying, we don't think she is going to get anyone in the final couple of weeks to become interested in our party and in our candidate who weren't already interested. And so we don't need them to vote. That is an incredibly weak position. No, we let as many people vote as possible. That is the stance we take. We let the other side be the anti-democratic party. Next, adequate resources to timely count ballots. That would be useful in California right now, since they are still going through those ballots. Now, I've seen some updates about them from sources I consider to be reputable. Apparently, after the first big batch, it's very close in terms of who is winning in those that have been counted after Election Day. I believe that Hillary Clinton was winning 54-46 or something like that. But very close, closer than the votes that came the day of. Next, elimination of closed nominating contests. Now, I think that this is a great idea, and it has nothing to do with the fact that Bernie Sanders would have done better if this had been the case in all of the primaries. We don't care about that at this point. The primaries are already over. You should want people to become interested in your candidates and to want to join the fucking party. That's as simple as it is. And if you make it so that only people who are registered, you're basically saying, oh, if you don't love us enough, then you don't get to get involved. Well, here's an idea. If you let them vote in the Democratic primary, perhaps that will be one of the things that gets them to feel devoted to your party. But again, it's this sort of weakness, this assumption that nobody would want to join the party that drives a lot of the policies that they've backed in the past. Let's see next. Doing away with superdelegates. That should be the most obvious thing in the world. Tulsi Gabbard started a drive to make sure that this happened, which is awesome. I don't care what happens in this primary. Superdelegates have to go. I don't care if in the next 100 years superdelegates never overturn the will of the people. They need to go. They are set up by design to throw elections. Simply because they haven't yet done that yet, that doesn't make me feel any better. Okay, they need to go, and so I'm glad that of course he is still talking about that. And of course, there's going to be more than that. Now, this is just the reforms to the electoral process, particular to the Democratic primary, and it makes sense for him to stress this considering that we are just closing out the contests in the Democratic primary. Now, there are much bigger issues that he needs to talk about and he needs to push for change on at the Democratic Convention. Both him and the people who are supporters of his, who are on the party platform, they're going to make the platform, I should say. Getting money out of politics, and not just undisclosed money out of politics. I don't care if it's disclosed or not disclosed. It's still a bribe, even if I know that you're doing it. So we need to get rid of that. There needs to be fundamental change to the way we approach social programs, like the way that we fund our education, healthcare reform, and things of that sort. There are big issues that need to be dealt with, both in our country and in the party. And there's no better advocate at the Democratic National Convention than Bernie Sanders to push for that. We're just getting a little bit of a preview of what his strategy is going to be going into there, but I already like it. Let me know what you think. What should his priorities be once he gets to that convention? What would you like to see?